Welcome back to the Attic Window Quilt Along. I'm Melanie Traylor. We are on week 6. This is our last week. We are about to have a flimsy, and you can't see my flimsy over there. I forgot to move it out of the way. All right. So if you are just now popping in, you've missed it. We are done. But the videos, the posts, the tips, all of it will live forever on the blog. All you have to do is pop in there, hit the quilt along button, and hit which quilt along that you want. An attic window right now is right up at the very top. So those will always be there, and you can just make the quilt on your own, at your own pace, and get it done that way. The attic window quilt pattern is in my book, A Life with Quilts, and I don't have the book in front of me right now like I normally do, but it's there. You can find the book at meanderanmake.com. Our task for week 6 is to get a finished quilt top. So it is flimsy time. We're going to get our background situated. We're going to get our rows made, and then we're going to sew our rows together. So let's do that. Okay, so we are at the part where I think fun is about to crank up. All right, so you should be sitting on, you should be sitting on a whole stack, done with this project box, a whole stack of background squares, and you should have 3 different sizes. So you got your largest size, your middle size, and your really small size. We're going to take these and we're just going to put them to the side, and we're just going to focus on these right now. All right, and if you're in your book, we're on page 46, and we're on the background squares and step number 1. And we're going to cut all 13 of these. You should have 13 of these pieces, and we're going to cut them all in half along the diagonal. All right, so that is, let me get my short ruler out. So I think I can probably cut 2 to 3 at a time. I'm scared to cut the whole stack at once. For one thing, I don't think I could, but 2, I wouldn't want to mess them up. So I'm gonna do this little number right here. And then you can put your ruler, and you kind of, you want the ruler to center in the corner, but you want to kind of do it a little off, because that way the rotary cutter can get right in the center. So your ruler doesn't actually go right in the center, but just kind of eyeball it the best you can. If you don't want to eyeball it, I could line up these. You know what? I think I'm going to take this one off. These look like they're stacked pretty perfectly. I could line up the corners, these 2 corners, right, with a line on my rotary cutting mat, one of the vertical lines, if you want to be a little extra particular and get things going really perfect. And then I can line up the lines on my ruler with the lines on my mat, looking 1 inch away from where I want to cut. We talked about that on week 1. Looking 1 inch away from where you actually want to cut and line those lines up. All right, and then we just cut, and then you're getting these pieces right here. All right, and I'm gonna do that for all of these. I'm probably gonna stack them like 2 or 3 at a time, just because I'm scared to stack them more than that, because sometimes the top one looks like it's accurate, and then it's not. The ones underneath are not as accurate as the top, so I kind of don't want to do like a whole bunch with similar cuts. All right, that's what we're doing. I'm going to finish this up and show it to you when I got them done. Okay, so I got all those done. All right, we're going to call, from now on, we're going to call these our large triangles. Put those to the side. Now we've got 2 of these little squares. All right, we're going to do the same thing with these little squares, or our smallest size squares. All right, so I'm just going to line up my ruler again, just to the left of those corners, so that when I cut directly into the corners. All right, so just like that. And we'll call these our small triangles. And just in case you're curious, these are always called setting triangles. All right. All right, we're ready to go to the design walk. All right, so I took the squares, right, and I put them all in these holes between the blocks. I took my smallest triangles and I put those, there's only 4 of them, remember. I put all 4 of them in each corner. All right. And then I took my large triangles and they are over here on all 4 sides of the perimeter, cleaning up that edge of the quilt. I actually thought I was filming myself putting these on the wall, and then turns out I didn't film it at all. I thought about taking them down and showing you again, but then I was like, oh no, how about a rest from doing all that? All right, we are ready to start sewing now. So it's on the wall. Take a good look. This is your last chance to move these blocks around and get them in a place that you like. I think I'm pretty happy with my place. So think about this on the diagonal, and we're gonna work the top half, and then we're gonna come back and work the bottom half. All right, so the top half, we're gonna work bottom up. All right, so I'm just gonna take that very top in the corner of the top right corner, right? If you're facing your quilt, it's the top right corner. I'm gonna grab all of these blocks. So you should be starting with one of your setting triangles and ending with a corner setting triangle. All right, so let me just grab these. I'm gonna keep them in order just like I would if I was sewing a regular row of blocks. All right, let's go to the sewing machine. All right, so this is gonna set up something like that. So make sure that your triangle is set in this orientation and you're going to the side of a block with it. And we're gonna just put this right here. And you want to line up this corner with the edge of your block, but not this point. So we got this nice 90-degree angle right here, or corner, and that's what we line up. We don't worry about how much tip is left off here. And actually, that you want that tip there, okay? All right, so let me zoom in for just a minute so you can see it a little bit again. I'm holding my triangle in this orientation, and my block is like this, okay? We're gonna line up these 2 corners. We're not gonna worry about this one. So we just flip this one down, corner to corner, and then line it up along that straight edge. My block is a smidgen off. All right, so just like that. And I'm going to sew right across here, and this, you want this. This is really important. All right, so we're going to sew right there. We're going to sew using our 1/4 inch seam. All right. All right, and then we're just going to continue on. All right, we're going to grab these next 2 blocks, chain piecing these, and get them going. I'm going to speed up this video so you don't have to watch me do all these, because I don't even have a straight line sew. And then I'm gonna slow back down when I get to that last setting triangle. All right, I actually didn't use that just yet, but I'm gonna. Now when I chain piece these, I just want to make sure that I put them right back in the order that I originally had them in. And it does mean going a little bit slower, but we want to maintain that order. All right, so you should be starting back with your original piece, and I'm going to again start chain piecing the sets together, okay? All right, so here we are. This is going to look just like that, all right? So what we want to do is we want to fold it together and give it a little finger press right here in its center. So I'm just pressing hard with my forefinger and my thumb, and it makes that little nice line. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to fold it just like this, corner to corner, and then I'm going to pinch right in the middle, make my finger press line. And now I can line up these 2 finger press lines together. So flip this guy over, put my finger press markings together, and I'm actually even going to put a little pin in it just so I know that they're not going to move. And I'm going to sew now. All right, now you'll notice that the corner is hanging off on both sides this is what you want. And then I don't want to move that at all. All right, so I'm gonna sew that just the way it is. Maintain my 1/4 inch seam. Now they are cut on the bias, so they can sometimes be a little funky or easily distorted. So you don't want to be pulling, tugging, or stretching these in any kind of way. All right. Now go back to my chain piecing. Maintain the order. All right. All right, that is our row done. Let's go press it. I'm gonna turn my row like this and press. And on this quilt, we're gonna always be pressing to the background, which is really, really simple, right? No need to overthink those arrows or anything like that. You're pressing towards the background, even on the triangles, all right? And then we're gonna press the triangles. And remember that what I said, that these are cut on the bias. So you're gonna treat them like they are really precious little babies. And you're not gonna do this. Not on the triangles anyway. All right, there's a nice press. And I'm gonna go through pressing these seams just the way I showed you towards my background, all the way down my row. I'm gonna speed up and do it real fast. If you hear that stomping around, that's the husband. I'm in the basement. I'm gonna put all these tools away. Get all this and this taken care of. Move pattern. All right. Our row beginning was that setting triangle. I'm just gonna lay this out. I like to always lay my stuff out right here, just like this. And I like working from bottom towards the top. All right, and then I'm gonna go and get my next row. All right, the next row will be this one, okay? So make sure you're working towards the top left corner. So let me grab these. And this row is gonna begin and end with one of those triangles, those setting side triangles, so perimeter triangles. So you might wanna just try to keep them in the direction that they are placed in, just so that you don't, sew them to the wrong side of that setting triangle, because we're sewing to both sides of it throughout this quilt, and you want to make sure that you have the correct side. All right, so you're always sewing either to this side or that side. So the beginning of the row is one way and the end of the row is the opposite way. So try to keep those in the correct orientation when you take them off the wall or floor or whatever you're doing and take them to the sewing machine. Try to just maintain their orientation. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna sew this row together, get it pressed, and then I'm gonna show you how to nest your seams. All right, we have our second row pressed, yay. And because we've pressed everything to the background, that means all of our rows are gonna alternate, or each of our rows are gonna alternate seams beautifully, allowing us to nest up and keep our lines, or at least hopefully get our lines lined up, get our seams lined up, I mean. All right, so we're gonna flip row two down onto the other row. And then, let me make sure you can see this. We're gonna line these seams up where if you're using your forefinger and your thumb and you're trying to mush them together, they should bump up and kiss. One seam is going this way and this seam is going that way. And when you can really feel it too, by the way, in your forefinger and thumb. You can really feel when they like push together like a puzzle piece, right? It just goes naturally into place. You'll take your pin, you're gonna put it directly in your stitch line so that it can hold it there. And I'm gonna go ahead and line this side up and pin it in place too. And you're gonna have this little overhang, and that's what you want. And then we'll continue doing that nesting all the way on every seam. And hopefully this helps you get your seams to line up and make you look like you put so much effort into it. All right, I'm gonna run through this. All right, so we've got our row together. I'm gonna go and sew right down the length of it. Got my rows sewn together. I'm gonna set these seams real quick, get them heated up, fix any kind of tension that might have happened without me knowing it on my stitches. And then it'll make those seams move together, move in the direction I want them to easier. All right, here we go. And now we're just going to press this seam just in whatever direction you want to press it in. So no hard rules here. Okay. Look at that. And those seams look good. All right, and if you're looking right here, you'll notice that it's making this really nice straight line. And that's what happens when you let those little tiny triangles be. And after I quilt this, when I'm squaring up my quilt, these will get, cut off, but I'm not gonna worry about it yet. All right. So that is that. And I am going to continue on with that top corner moving, towards the left of the quilt top. I'm gonna continue on sewing those rows together, and I'm gonna stop and show you when I get to that very last corner. So I'm on that last little corner triangle, which ends up being the top left of the quilt, in case you're wanting to know. And we're gonna put this on the same way that we did that other one at the machine. I'm just going to fold it in half, make my little pressing mark, right? And I wanna do the other one too. Need to kind of be careful where I'm putting this because it's got those little tiny triangles that get in the way, aka dog ears. All right, so I've got my two pressing marks, and same thing as before, we will just put a pin right in the middle, and then I'll go sew across here, and that's it for those corner triangles. All right, I've got my corner done. Didn't take too long, but vlogs are so small, so it does take some time. All right, so just let me get it back on the wall. All right, I want to get it back on the wall just so that I can keep the orientation correct in my own head. So I know, where all the pieces are going, because I'm actually going to do this a little bit different. So we've got this bottom section, right? And again, you can do this any way you want to. I just like to always show the way I go at these projects, just in case people want to know. And always, my advice is always based on the way I go at processes and projects. But I want to think about this upside down. So I want the corner again to be my top and this row right here to be the bottom. So when I start pulling these blocks off the wall, I'm going to do the mirror image of what I did before. So this time I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to pull them off in this order, not this way, the way I did it last time. So this order, and then I'm always going to be adding onto the bottom of this row right here. All right, so again, I'm going to keep them in line. So I want to maintain those corners or those triangle orientations really carefully. I got all these ways of doing things because I've made so many mistakes through the years, and I don't like fixing my mistakes. All right, so this is how I've taken them off the wall, but I'm going to sew them this way. All right, so you just completely flip them, and just when we start sewing this together, and then when we put it back on the wall, it'll be easy to remember that it is, needs to be flipped upside down to get back in the right place. Okay, I'm going to get this whole bottom section sewn together, and I'm going to show it to you after I am done, and I'm so tickled about it. All right, let's see. Let me get on top of these bricks. Ta-da! Oh, this way. Okay, so that's it for the sewing. And now we're done. We are done. Thank you for making this quilt with me. I hope you love your quilt as much as I love mine. I'm just going crazy over that yellow background. Thank you for participating in this quilt along. Thank you for making Attic Window with me. I've enjoyed your comments, your emails, connecting with you over on Instagram. I would love it if you tagged me in your finished quilt tops or your finished quilts, whatever you got going on. I love seeing them. That wraps up my 2022 quilt alongs. That was 5 quilt alongs in 1 year. Pew. And I only actually finished 1 of them. The other 4 still are waiting in the closet for me to get to, which is going to work out. And what I wanted to mention before I popped out was that I'm working on a class called Finish It, and it is about finishing your quilts. So I'm sitting on all these quilt tops, and I'm going to have those in the class, and I'm going to be, teaching free motion, teaching straight line quilting, basting, all the types of binding that I know of. So it's going to be a really big class as far as things that are going to get covered. It'll live over on my quilt class website. If you don't have the skills to finish your quilt and want to learn them to do this yourself, pop onto that class. If you're on my newsletter list, you will be the first to know about new classes, new patterns, new quilt alongs, all that stuff. Also, I think we have some coupons that are still in effect if you want to send off your quilt to a Long Armor. So look at the post page, and I'll link that to it below here. There'll be a link to all the coupons that we have from Long Armors. Ugh, couldn't get that out. All right, so thanks again for making Attic Window with me. I can't wait to see all your quilts.